guys, welcome back to Class with Cass, my YouTube series where I give you the hottest tips and tricks on living your best student life. For those of you who don't know me, hello, my name is Cassandra. I got into all 8 Ivy League universities and every single school that I applied to, and today I am going to share with you the essays that got me into Princeton. This is following the heels of my last video, which if you haven't seen that, I would recommend you watching that. Me evaluating Devi Vishwakumar's college admissions process. She's a character from the Netflix show Never Have I Ever, and basically it was the 4th season, final year of high school, and I just kind of passed some judgment on one of her essays and her overall process, some of the questionable life decisions that our fiery girl makes. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. But yeah, let's dive right into these Princeton essays. Okay, so I believe that year I had a series of questions that I could choose from. So here is the one that I ended up choosing. Using a favorite quotation from an essay or book you have read in the last 3 years as a starting point, tell us about an event or experience that helped you define one of your values or changed how you approach the world. Please write the quotation, title, and author at the beginning of your essay. And they asked for approximately 500 words, no more than 650, which is pretty standard. The quote that I ended up choosing was a quote from one of my favorite books of all time, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. If you have not read that, highly recommend. But here's what the quote is. You may tell a tale that takes up residence in someone's soul, becomes their blood and self and purpose. That tale will move them and drive them, and who knows what they might do because of it, because of your words. That is your role, your gift. Ugh, what an amazing quote. So the essay that I ended up using for this prompt is actually an essay you guys might have come across before on my channel. I used it to answer Harvard questions, for example, and elsewhere as well. But let me read it to you. It goes a little like this. Lights up on a couch potato, literally. When I was 9, I wrote my first play about a boy who ate so much junk food and watched so much TV that he turned into a starchy crop stuck to his sofa. A troupe of professional traveling actors from the Imagination Machine performed my comedic skit in front of giggling elementary school students. As the audience laughed at my human-turned couch potato, I knew I was on the right path to winning a Tony Award. After all, a potato is like a play. It begins underground. The roots push through darkness, reaching for nutrients and a strong grip on the earth. I am alone in my room with the seed of an idea that consumes me. Words fill the page in a frenzy that would make Samuel French flinch. Lights up on news articles and personal, intimate histories collected from hours of research. I dig until I can curl my fingers around what feels like a story. Conflict? Check. Biting dialogue? Check. Characters I want to simultaneously hug and slap? Check. Because my perspective has shifted, sprouts spring from the seed's eyes and the plant breaks the surface. I format and muster up the courage to send my words into the unknown, to collaborate with artists and bring it to life. My play no longer flourishes through willpower alone. It is a team effort to take care of the seedling. The countdown to opening night begins. You want to hear the backstory I came up with for my character? It is questions like these from actors that captivate me in rehearsal. The universe is no longer only mine. Directors, actors, producers, stage managers live and breathe in a world I build. Cue the Italian runs, unscripted curse words, and giggles in an empty theater. Yet theater without an audience is just rehearsal. Life as a potato isn't easy. There are powerful forces of nature to deal with and the struggle to grow, to emerge stronger than before. Every meeting with an artistic team of visionaries scrapes away an unnecessary scene or discovers another layer or goes off on a tangent entirely, and those are the best conversations. Conversations that deeply move me when an actor shares his own experience about losing a parent, that reaffirm me in my moments of soul-crushing doubt, that validate the reason why I write in hopes that my stories may resonate with even one person in the audience. The potato reaches maturation when it loses some of its leaves, vines changing color to something more beautiful. It is now ready to be presented to the public eye. Cue gasps, wet cheeks, and laughter from the audience, united in that moment. Everyone eats potatoes. Theater equalizes the playing field. Just as the potato spreads across the globe, whether my plays are performed in a school's church-turned theater, a white box in New York, the Stella Adler Theater in Hollywood, or the Old Globe Theater in San Diego, we clap because we believe. After house lights go up, audience members approach me with their life stories in hand, and those are the moments I tear up and marvel at the power of words. After experiencing imagination in action, I don't think I'll be turning into a couch potato anytime soon. After all, a potato is like a play, not a playwright, and one potato can yield an entire harvest more. So let me tell you a little bit, I guess, about my decision to use this essay for this prompt. This prompt is really open-ended, and I think it's crafted that way on purpose, right? You could choose a quote from anything and take it in any direction you want to. So when you see, an essay prompt like this, it's a really good opportunity to assess what essays you already have in your arsenal and see what might fit that is important to you and you want to demonstrate that side to you. So for example, for me, like my comment obviously is the most important essay, but there are other parts of my life that I think every school should know about, whether it comes in the form of like a long essay or like a shorter essay or one of those 50-word essays. So I thought that this was a good opportunity for me to demonstrate a really big part of myself, which is my love of theater and playwriting. So because I'm writing about the act of storytelling, I think there is this innate sort of pressure or expectation that it be sort of creative, or at least it removed any pressure of it being a formal essay. Like I kind of had fun with it, obviously, because I took this silly little metaphor and I ran with it and drove it all the way into the ground where it sprouted new potatoes. Just kidding, I took it too far. But you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be afraid to have fun with your essay. The quote that I chose was about storytelling, and I think that this essay matches that, the intensity of the quote, because in the quote it says stories will shape people, and in my essay I showed how it shaped others, but most importantly shaped myself. Like it reaffirmed who I am and my strengths and my passion, and it explains why I want to continue doing theater, because I really experienced the power of it. Something that I think helped my essay is having specific references that the audience might not get. And let me explain like why that is useful, and let me show you a couple of examples. For example, if you knew nothing of the theater world, you probably do not know who Samuel French is. You probably have no idea what an Italian run is, and those are just two examples, right? So why did I include those examples? Even though the reader might not understand them, they'll understand it in the larger context. They understand that I'm referencing something that is specific to the theater world, and what that does is it establishes that I am a master of what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not fooling around here, guys. Like, I know theater, I understand these terms and languages, and your reader, using context clues, will be able to figure out like what that means, even if they don't know specifically what it is exactly. But the point of me including that is to demonstrate my knowledge of this field. By doing that, it's like I'm inviting the audience into my world, like step into Cassandra's shoes and see the world from her perspective just for a little bit. Another thing I would advise for students in any essay, whether it's your comm or your supplement, is consider the idea of struggle, right? Like, it doesn't have to be huge. Whatever story you're telling, it doesn't have to be like life-changing or earth-shattering. Just what is the struggle in the story that you're trying to tell? As we all know, and probably it's been drilled into our heads at this point, like a story is not a good one if there is no conflict. In a lot of acting scenarios or writing exercises, there's the challenge of making a character going to get water in the middle of the night a story. Now, how do you do that? You introduce obstacles and you make it difficult for that character to go get water. So same thing in your story, whatever it is, I'm sure there's an element of struggle involved in it. And I want you to capture that and write that down. So for me, There's the struggle of, I even say like there are powerful forces of nature to deal with and struggle to grow. This idea of workshopping and workshopping and workshopping and working with other people, which is not an easy thing to do. And like, you know, stripping the play down to its bare necessities. That's the struggle part of it. I also convey this image of struggle of like me, like in the dark, like writing words, like blah, 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 like working hard, you know, that can also be an element of the struggle aspect. So we want to see like your blood, sweat, and tears, whatever your essay is about, effort, what it cost you, like lean into that. I want you to capture that. I want to be able to experience that. So another thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of a tricky thing to do, and let me explain why I think I was able to get away with it in my essay. You do have to brag about yourself at a certain point. Now, your comm app is probably not the best place to do it, but your supplements are kind of where you gotta show like who you are and what you've done and where you've been and what you are likely to going to do. So the place where I feel like I do that most is where I say, just as the potato spreads across the globe, whether my plays are performed in a school's church-turned theater, a white box in New York, the Stella Adler Theater in Hollywood, or the Old Globe Theater in San Diego, we clap because we believe. Yes, that is a little resume-y, but I'll tell you why I think it works. The first reason is it doesn't come out of nowhere. The purpose of me listing those places out is to show the diversity of like my play potato like spreading across the globe, right? So it serves that purpose. And the second reason why it works, I hope, is because I think I'm coming across as pretty awestruck and humble in this essay. Humbled by the reaction that I've been able to experience with audiences, humbled by this opportunity that my stories get to be like put on at these amazing theaters across the country. So I think that might be why I'm able to get away with it, is this element of like humility and like wide-eyed awe, instead of saying, oh yeah, I had place premieres at da-da-da, like that will come across very differently. So the final thing that I want to talk about why I think it works, there's a lot of heart in this essay, or at least I hope the reader understands that there's a lot of heart and there's a lot of emotion in it. And it doesn't, all of this emotion is kind of almost tangential to me. Like it's not even really about me. It's about like my love for theater, which is this crazy force of nature in itself. But let me point to you a couple of examples where I think the emotion really comes in. There's the fun emotion, the fun of rehearsals, but more than that, there's for example, conversations that deeply move me when an actor shares his own experience about losing a parent, or the audience members like coming up to me, cue gasps, wet cheeks, and laughter. Audience members approach me with their life stories in hand, and those are the moments I tear up and marvel at the power of words. It's incredible, like, because I didn't even have to say what their stories were, but you kind of get the idea of like what they might be telling me in these conversations. And so the heart of it is there. The heart, like when you read this essay, hopefully you understand like, wow, theater is this like crazy powerful thing. And I understand why Cassandra is so enraptured by it that she wants to like spend the rest of her life doing this, you know? So heart, emotion, don't be afraid to like tap into that. And like I said before in this essay, it doesn't even necessarily have to be your emotion. Just it has to be present somewhere in the essay for your reader to hook onto and like feel emotionally connected to you or the thing that you're talking about. Okay, moving on to the next essay question. This one was very common in a lot of the colleges during my year. It's probably changed since then, but please briefly elaborate on one of your extracurricular activities or work experiences that was particularly meaningful to you. And this one's short. It was about 150 words. And I too have used this essay elsewhere, so this might be familiar to you. But for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. This is my answer to that. If I described to you my life, you'd assume I'm a spy. After all, I was recruited when I was 11. My assignments require significant travel to infiltrate red carpets and junkets, relaying intel to bosses who sit atop skyscrapers. Instead of X-ray sunglasses, I'm equipped with only a mic and a notepad. Like an agent studying files all night, I research assets and brainstorm unique questions. I work erratic hours and stay calm under pressure. Though I'm not setting traps for villains, I do talk with green monsters like the Hulk, Kermit, and Mike Wazowski. I train intensely as a maze runner, study how to train your dragon, and venture into the woods. It pays off when I acquire exclusive insight into artists' lives, revealing facets of depth to the public. I connect with another human and gain invaluable perspective. Real spy or not, this job is just as cool. So you can probably guess what I was, even if you have no idea what I was. I was a reporter. And if you haven't yet checked out, I have videos on my channel where I spill all the tea about being a kid reporter and how that helped me get to college. So check this out. Yeah, so this is kind of the essay that I recycled for different colleges. I'm still really proud of it. Like the line where I incorporate like the movie's titles, like honestly, that's kind of killer. Like, that's pretty bomb. I just had a lot of fun writing this essay, as you can probably tell. I hope this essay shows you that you can have fun, even if it's answering like a really presumably dry question about like elaborate on one of your extracurricular activities. Don't be afraid to have fun. I will also point out what I think your essay should include, whether or not the prompt includes this part or not. Explain to us why it's meaningful. So like, why is it meaningful to you, and why do you spend so many hours to this thing? I think what really makes this essay work is that I not only say what I do, but I say why it's important to me. So again, I'll read it again. It pays off when I acquire exclusive insight into artists' lives, revealing facets of depth to the public. I connect with another human and gain invaluable perspective. So that is the why behind why I work so hard as a reporter. I would encourage you to reflect back on like, why do you do what you do? Like, why do you spend so much time like volunteering? Or why do you spend so much time doing X, Y, and Z? Like, what is really driving at you? And for me, my mission in reporting, yeah, like meeting celebrities is fun, like getting the goss is fun, but the real reason that I was so passionate about it is because I wanted to bring the stars like closer to Earth. It's something that I would say to myself and say often. Like, I just want to make these celebrities who we often like put on pedestals more accessible, and like show them, hey, they're human just like us. They also have their own struggles. They also have their own flaws. Like, fame and riches is not the answer to all of that, you know? So that was kind of my MO in my whole reporting experience. Okay, so another essay, 150 words. The prompt was, please tell us how you have spent the last 2 summers or vacations between school years, including any jobs you have held. So in this one, I talked about, well, let me just read it to you and then I will expand on it. At the Hobie World Leadership Congress in Chicago, I became part of a family of 456 ambassadors from 11 different countries. After late night talks comparing lifestyles with my roommate from Beijing, afternoons packaging thousands of meals for needy families, and hugs from strangers who are now my lifelong friends from across the globe, I found that I could open my heart wider than ever before. Hobie taught us that we possess more courage and willpower than we ever imagined. Okay. At JCamp, an all-expense-paid week-long seminar hosted by the Asian American Journalists Association, I was mentored by industry professionals of all ethnicities. I joined the 41 top student journalists from across the nation in a conversation about diversity in the newsroom. We discussed our different perspectives, from covering Ferguson to Capitol Hill politics to cultural appropriation, and emerged knowing our voices need to be heard. So you can check out these videos that I have on my channel that talk about, you know, stuff that I did in journalism and stuff that I did in leadership. I probably would write this maybe a little bit differently. It's hitting a little too sentimental for me. I think I would have wanted a more nuanced, specific angle into the essay. What I mean is, I think there are certain lines that anyone who went to Hobie or anyone who went to JCamp could have written. So I think I would have pushed younger me to make it even more specific. Like, what did I accomplish or do at these events? For example, at JCamp, I probably should have talked about like the difficulties or challenges that I faced completing my own news segment and being on camera in that way. For Hobie, I think I would want to talk about how I performed poetry in front of everyone. So yeah, I would just push myself to think of things to talk about that really only I can talk about, because some of the stuff here is a little bit general to the experience of like Hopi and J Camp. So here's a bonus portion that I decided to include in today's video. At that point in time, Princeton asked us to list out our favorites. So I'm going to share those with you today, and you get to learn a little bit more about me. Well, me at that time, right? My favorites now are probably very different, but at that time, this is a snapshot in time, what Cassandra really liked in high school. So favorite book and its author, House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. Your favorite movie, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Okay, not gonna lie, that's still the same. It's still a comfort watch to me. I've seen it probably over 30 times. Your favorite website, I put YouTube. High-key judging young Cassandra. Okay, anyways, 2 adjectives your friends would use to describe you. I put passionate, optimistic. I think I would change that up. I think that's like too cliche almost, especially the passionate one. Your favorite recording, I put the Hamilton soundtrack. It was really hot back then. It was really hot. Your favorite keepsake or memento, stuffed animals. Your favorite source of inspiration. I wrote works of art, plays, musicals, movies, books, museums, dance. My favorite word, curio, C-U-R-I-O. Your favorite line from a movie or book and its title. And this is still very much who I am, so go you for being honest. Seconds third to the right and straight on till morning. Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. Fun fact, sophomore year at Yale, I decorated my dorm Peter Pan themed. And I also did my senior thesis, which was inspired by Peter Pan. It was a racial reimagining of J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan. So there you have it. Those are my essays that I submitted to Princeton, and that is kind of part of how I got in. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you check out my description, I have a link where you can read these essays on my website, and yeah, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.